She smiled at me in the hallway and said, "Tonight, please don't introduce yourself as my boyfriend. Just let me work the room." And I felt my stomach go quiet in a way it never had before. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. I'm 36 and I live in Richmond, Virginia. I work as a procurement analyst for a mid-size construction supplier. My days are purchase orders, delivery windows, and contracts that need signatures in the right place. I'm not a dramatic person. I like clarity. If something is broken, I fix it. If something doesn't fit, I don't force it. My girlfriend Paige is 32. She's a brand partnerships coordinator for a local beverage company. Her job is relationships, events, introductions, being on all the time. When we met, I liked that she was social. She could walk into a room and leave with 3 new contacts and an invitation to something interesting. She made life feel bigger. We'd been together for almost 3 years. We lived in a leased townhouse in the museum district, both names on the lease, both paying rent. We had a shared tablet on the kitchen counter we used for bills and grocery orders. We also had a shared email folder for house stuff because it made everything easier. Paige was the one who suggested it, which is why I didn't question it when it later mattered. The slow shift started in early October. Fall in Richmond is the best time of year, cooler air, leaves turning, the city feeling like it's finally exhaling after summer. Paige started dressing like every day was a photo shoot. New boots, new lipstick shade, a perfume that lingered long after she left. She also started running out for quick meetings at odd times, Saturday afternoons, Sunday mornings, times that didn't match normal work hours. At first, I assumed her company was gearing up for holiday promotions. Then I noticed the secrecy. She'd step outside to take calls, even when we had the living room to ourselves. She'd tilt her screen away when she texted. She'd laugh at something on her phone and then immediately clear her face when I looked up. One evening I asked, casually, "Everything okay at work?" "Busy," she said, "too quick, just busy." Paige isn't a bad liar in the obvious way. She's a bad liar in the over-explaining way. She'll add details you didn't ask for, like she's trying to build a wall out of words. Around that time, we were also planning something big. Not a wedding, not yet, but we'd been talking about it. We detoured a couple venues for a small spring celebration. Nothing massive, just family, close friends, and a dinner after. Paige wanted a particular historic courtyard for photos. I wanted something simple and affordable. We landed on a compromise, a small event space attached to a restaurant downtown for a commitment dinner in December. Paige pitched it as a way to bring our families together before we took any next steps. I didn't love the phrase, but I loved the idea of building something steady. The contract and deposit were in my name because I'm the one who reads the fine print and puts the money down on time. 2 days before everything blew up, I got a bank notification on the shared tablet while I was cleaning up after dinner. It popped up on the screen like those alerts do when the tablet is unlocked for music or recipes. Charge $189.40, Magnolia House Floral. At first I didn't think anything of it. Florals for an event, sure. Paige had mentioned she wanted a few arrangements, but the amount was higher than a few, and I hadn't seen any invoice come to my email. I set the tablet down and didn't say anything. I didn't want to be the guy who interrogates every purchase. We both contributed. We had a joint house account we used for shared expenses. Paige had access. The next morning, I noticed something else. Paige left the house earlier than usual, and she did it wearing a blazer and heels even though she'd told me the day before she was just doing admin at the office. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her tote bag, and said, "If you're home tonight, don't wait up. I might have a late thing." "Late thing?" I asked. "A tasting," she said, "work-related." Then she was out the door. That evening, while I was making a grocery list on the shared tablet, the house email app was open. We used it for utilities, subscriptions, anything landlord-related. Paige's work email wasn't on it, but her personal email was because she ordered household stuff and forwarded receipts. Again, her idea, her convenience. A new email notification slid down at the top of the screen. Subject: updated headcount plus seating request, December dinner. From the restaurant event coordinator. The preview line said, adding 1 guest per Paige's request. Please confirm name spelling. I didn't open it immediately. I stared at the preview for a second, then tapped it because the contract was in my name and headcount changes affect pricing. That's normal. That's my responsibility. The email was simple. The coordinator listed our confirmed headcount, then noted a change, per Paige's message adding one additional guest. Name, Grant Ellison. Grant, that name hit like a cold splash. I knew who Grant was because Paige had mentioned him in the past, in the casual way you mention an old chapter. College boyfriend, serious for a while. We ended weird. He moved to DC, we don't really talk. I sat down at the kitchen table. It wasn't anger. It was that quiet mental click when your brain says, pay attention. I scrolled down. There was a forwarded thread below the coordinator's email. Paige had written to her, please add Grant Ellison to the guest list. He's important to me and will be in town. Thank you. Important to me. No mention of me, no mention of us, just important to her. I didn't keep digging. I didn't search her inbox for secrets like I was trying to catch her. I stayed on the one thread that directly involved me and money and a contract in my name. I took a screenshot showing the coordinator's note and Paige's message, with the timestamp visible. Then I closed the tablet. When Paige came home, she was in a great mood, too great. She set her tote bag down, kicked off her shoes, and started telling me about some new campaign like she hadn't just invited her ex to our December dinner. I let her talk for a minute, then I said, "Come, why is Grant added to the guest list for our dinner?" Her face flickered, a tiny stutter, then she recovered with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh," she said, he's in town for a conference. He saw my post about the beverage launch and messaged me. We've been catching up." Catching up. I kept my tone even. Why is he coming to our dinner? She leaned against the counter, arms crossed like she was bracing for a negotiation. Because it's a big night for me too, and he wants to support me. It's not romantic. It's our commitment dinner, I said. It's for our families. She sighed like I was being unreasonable. You're making it sound bigger than it is. It is big, I said. That's when she dropped the humiliating line, the one that made everything go quiet inside me. Listen, she said, lowering her voice like she was doing me a favor. At the dinner, just don't claim me in front of him. Don't do the arm around stuff. Don't act territorial. Just let me handle the introductions. I stared at her, and I could feel my body go still. Don't claim you, I repeated. Yes, she said, impatient now. It's awkward. Grant has feelings about things. I want the night to go smoothly. She wasn't talking about my feelings at all. She was talking about his comfort. I could have argued right there. I could have said, so you want me to pretend I'm not your partner at the event I'm paying for. I could have raised my voice and let her call me insecure and controlling, the usual script. But I felt the inner switch flip, because I suddenly saw what this was. It wasn't about one ex. It was about power. She wanted me present as a prop, but not present as her partner. She wanted the benefits of stability while she curated her image for someone else. And the timing mattered, because the next step was already in motion. 2 weeks earlier, I'd put down a deposit on a ring, nothing extravagant, a classic setting at a reputable jeweler in Short Pump. The pickup date was in November, because I planned to propose quietly around Thanksgiving, when my sister would be in town and my parents could travel. I'd also paid the deposit for the December dinner venue, which was non-refundable after a certain date that was approaching fast. Paige didn't know any of that. She thought December was a fun event she was organizing. She didn't realize it was the foundation I was planning to build on. I looked at her and said, "Okay." Her eyebrows lifted. "Okay." "Okay," I said again. "Do what you need to do." She relaxed like she'd won the argument without having to fight. "Thank you," she said. "I knew you'd be mature." I didn't respond to that. I went to the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, and I did what I do when something has to be handled cleanly. I made a list. Not an emotional list, a logistical one. First, remove myself from commitments that assumed she was my future. Second, secure my finances and documents. Third, exit the living arrangement legally and calmly. I started with the receipts action because time windows matter. At 9:11 a.m. the next day, I called the restaurant event coordinator. Her name was Elena. She recognized my name immediately. "Mr. Hargrove," she said, cheerful, "how can I help?" "Hi, Elena," I said. "I need to update our booking." "Sure," she said, "headcount menu." "I need to cancel the event," I said. Silence for half a second. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, may I ask? You don't need the reason, I said gently. Please send me a written cancellation confirmation and the refund policy details based on the contract. Subject line, cancellation confirmation, Hargrove December dinner. She pulled up the contract. Your deposit is partially refundable until October 20th. After that, it becomes non-refundable. It was October 16th. Okay, I said. Please process the cancellation today. I'll email you within the hour, she said. At 9:38 a.m., I called the florist listed on the bank notification. Magnolia House Floral, the owner answered. Hi, I said. This is Daniel Hargrove. I need the invoice for the event arrangements placed for December 7th. She asked for the order number. I didn't have it. I gave her the delivery address, the restaurant. She found it. It's under page L, she said, but it's attached to your card on file from a previous order. That explained the bank notification. Paige had used the saved card. Please email me the invoice, I said. She did. The invoice included a line, personal request, bouquet handoff to Grant upon arrival. It was written like a note for staff. That was my second receipt, lawful, clean, direct. I didn't call Paige at work. I didn't accuse her. I simply emailed the florist back. Cancel this order effective immediately. Please confirm in writing. They replied that same morning and said any cancellation within 14 days would keep a $50 design fee but refund the rest. Fine. At 10:22 a.m., the restaurant coordinator emailed me. Subject cancellation confirmation, Hargrove December dinner. It stated the refund amount and that it would be processed back to the original card within 5-7 business days. I saved it as a PDF and moved it into a folder in my email labeled December. Then I drove to the jeweler at lunch. I didn't tell a story. I didn't say my girlfriend was awful. I simply said, I need to cancel the order. The associate nodded, professional. She pulled up my receipt. The deposit was refundable within 21 days minus a small restocking fee. I was on day 15. She printed the cancellation form. I signed it. She said, refund posts in 3-5 business days. I asked for a copy. She emailed it with the subject line, order cancellation receipt Hargrove. I saved that too. Now I had undone the big commitments, quietly, legally, cleanly. Next was the clean exit. We had a lease through a property management company. The lease clause allowed one tenant to be removed only with landlord approval and proof the remaining tenant could qualify a loan. Otherwise, we could terminate early with a fee equal to 1 month's rent. It wasn't fun, but it was clear. Contracts are contracts. I emailed the property manager at 2:04 p.m. Subject lease options, tenant change request. Body, hello, I'm a tenant at 1417 Parkview LN. Unit B, I'm requesting information on removing myself from the lease effective November 1st or initiating early termination per the lease terms. Please advise required documentation and timelines. No blame, no emotion, just the process. Then I secured my things. That evening after Paige went out for another work tasting, I gathered my personal documents, passport, birth certificate, work ID, insurance paperwork, vehicle title. I put them in a folder and placed it in my trunk. I packed a small suitcase with a week of clothes and my laptop. I did not touch anything of hers. I didn't empty drawers that contained shared items. I simply prepared. At 8:37 p.m., another bank notification popped up on the shared tablet. Refund initiated, Magnolia House Floral. I took a photo of the notification with my phone, not because I was celebrating, but because receipts matter when someone tries to rewrite the timeline. The next morning, the property manager replied. They said Paige could apply to qualify a loan, or we could both sign an early termination agreement and split the fee. They attached the forms. I printed them. I placed them in a plain envelope. I wrote Paige a short letter. Not a speech, not a poem, just facts. I wrote that I would not be attending any event where I was expected to pretend I wasn't her partner. I wrote that I had canceled the December dinner booking and the ring order. I wrote that I would be moving out within 72 hours and I would pay my portion of rent through the end of the month. I wrote that lease logistics would be handled through email and the attached forms. I dated it and signed it. I placed the envelope on the kitchen table where she couldn't miss it. Then I left for work and didn't text her. Paige came home that evening around 6:45. I was back at the townhouse, quietly packing my clearly personal items into boxes. My books, my clothes, my tools, my desk chair, the old record player my father gave me. I left the couch we'd bought together. I left the dining table. I left the kitchenware that was clearly shared. She walked in, saw the boxes, and froze. "What is happening?" she said, voice sharp. I set a box down and said, "Read the envelope." She grabbed it, tore it open, scanned it, and her face changed in stages. First disbelief, then anger. "You canceled the dinner," she said. "Yes," I said. "You canceled the ring," she snapped. "Yes," I said again. Her eyes flashed. "You had no right, that was for me." "It was paid by me," I said, "and it was based on assumptions that no longer apply." She stepped forward. "This is because of Grant. Are you seriously throwing everything away because I asked you not to be weird for one night?" I didn't argue with the framing. I stayed on facts. "You asked me to pretend I wasn't your partner so your ex could feel comfortable. That's not something I'm willing to do." Then she started the gaslighting arc like a switch flipped. "Minimization first. You're twisting my words. I just meant don't be clingy. You always take things personally." I looked at her. "Those were your words. Don't claim me." "Blame next. If you had more confidence, this wouldn't be an issue. You're acting insecure." I kept my tone low. "Confidence isn't the problem. Respect is." Then insults. "You're so rigid. You treat relationships like a spreadsheet. You don't even know how to just be normal." I nodded once like I was noting a comment at work and said, "I'm not going to argue." Then tears on cue, her voice cracked. "I can't believe you're doing this. You're embarrassing me. Do you know how this looks?" There it was again, not pain about losing me, concern about appearances. I said, "I'm moving out. I'll handle my part of the lease properly. That's all." She stepped closer, trying to pull me into emotion. "Talk to me. Don't do this. We can fix it." "I'm communicating," I said. "It's just not the conversation you want." She wiped her face, sudden anger returning. "You're punishing me." "I'm choosing what I participate in," I said. "That's not punishment." She stared at the boxes like they were an insult. "Where are you going?" she demanded. "I have temporary housing," I said. "With who?" she asked, suspicious. "I'm not discussing that," I said calmly. "It doesn't matter." She threw her hands up. "So that's it, you just leave." I didn't use any dramatic breakup phrase. I didn't say anything catchy. I said, "I'm removing myself from a situation that isn't healthy for me." She looked like she wanted to scream. Then she turned and slammed the bedroom door. I finished packing what I could that night and left with 2 carloads. I didn't take anything that wasn't mine. I didn't leave a mess. I took photos of the rooms I'd cleared, showing that I left shared items in place. I moved into a month-to-month furnished studio near Bayard Park. It wasn't glamorous, but it was quiet, clean, and mine. I set my laptop on the small table, hung my jacket on a hook, and felt a strange relief. No tension in the air, no sudden phone flips, no performance. The aftermath attempts started within hours. First, an unknown number called at 10:12 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. A man's voice, confident and annoyed. "Hey, this is Grant. Paige is really upset. You're overreacting. Call her and stop acting like a child." I blocked the number without responding. Second, Paige emailed me at 1:34 a.m. Subject: "This is ridiculous. Bodies, you blindsided me. You're controlling. You're making me look unstable. I didn't even do anything." I didn't reply. I created a filter that sent her emails into a folder labeled lease, so I wouldn't get dragged into late-night emotional swings. I saved the email as a PDF, because keeping records is not cruelty, it's clarity. Third, her friend Tessa texted me the next afternoon. "Paige says you're leaving because she invited an old friend to dinner. Can you please talk to her? She's crying at work." I replied once politely, "I'm handling logistics through email. I'm not discussing details through friends." Then I stopped. 2 days later, Paige showed up at my work parking lot around lunch. She didn't come inside. She waited by my car like it was a movie scene. That's the kind of thing she would do when she wanted control of the narrative. I walked up calm and said, "This isn't appropriate." Her eyes were red. "So you're just going to ignore me?" "I'm not ignoring you," I said. "I'm limiting communication to email." She scoffed. "Because you want everything on record." "Yes," I said simply, "because things are clearer that way." She stared at me like I'd insulted her. "Grant is not even a big deal. He was just coming to support me." I didn't argue. I said, "That's not consistent with the florist invoice." Her face flickered. "What invoice?" I kept it factual, the one attached to my card, the one that included a note about handing him a bouquet. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then she switched back to blame. "So you were snooping." I shook my head once. "It was on the shared tablet. It's our house account. I didn't break into anything. I saw what was connected to my money." She looked away, then snapped, "You always make everything about money." I said, "Money is part of building a life. So is respect." Her eyes filled again and she whispered, "I made a mistake." I didn't soften into it. I said, "You made a choice." Then I walked past her and went back to work. Quiet karma didn't arrive in a dramatic explosion. It arrived in emails and bills and awkward conversations she couldn't control. Paige applied to qualify for the lease alone and didn't meet the income requirement without a cosigner. The property manager told her she could either find a qualified roommate, produce a cosigner, or proceed with early termination. She emailed me angry about the fee, saying I was ruining her. I replied once with the document attached. "These are the lease options provided by the property manager. Please choose A or B by Friday so we can submit paperwork on time." No emotion, just process. Then the December dinner cancellation became public in the way event cancellations always do. People had blocked that night off. Paige's mother called her, confused. Friends asked questions. Paige tried to tell people the restaurant had double booked. But the restaurant coordinator emailed me an automated follow-up survey that included the words, "Cancellation requested by client." If Paige tried to argue, the written confirmation contradicted her. I didn't send it to anyone. I didn't have to. Lies have a short shelf life when paperwork exists. The bigger consequence came from Grant himself, the person she'd been curating everything for. I learned about it the most ordinary way. Another bank notification popped up on the shared tablet because Paige apparently hadn't logged out of the Housebank app yet. Charge $312.18, Riverfront Hotel. Then 2 hours later, charge reversed, Riverfront Hotel. Then charge $86.40, parking garage. Then charge $54.22, late night food delivery. It was a stream of messy expenses, the kind that happens when someone is entertaining someone else and trying to keep up. The next morning, Paige emailed me, not angry this time, panicked. Subject, "Please respond." Body, Grant left. He said he had to go back to DC early. He used my card for the hotel incidentals and then blocked me. "I feel sick. Can we please just talk?" That was the reality she'd been protecting, a man who took what he wanted and disappeared. I didn't gloat. I didn't say, "I told you so." I simply replied, brief and calm, "I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Lease paperwork still needs to be submitted by Friday." She replied with a long message about how she didn't mean it like that and how she just wanted the night to be smooth. She said I was the safest person she'd ever had and she didn't know why she sabotaged it. I didn't reply to the emotional parts. I kept the line steady. "Please confirm whether you are choosing early termination or roommate cosigner option." That's what quiet power looks like when you're not trying to win an argument. You're trying to protect your future. We chose early termination. We both signed the form. The fee was 1 month's rent. I paid my half on time and kept the confirmation. The property manager emailed both of us. Termination processed. Keys due by 5:00 p.m. on move-out date. Clean, final. Paige tried one more angle through a family intermediary. Her aunt emailed me from an address I didn't recognize, writing a long message about how Paige is fragile and people make mistakes and a real man fights for his relationship. I didn't insult her aunt. I replied with one sentence, "I appreciate your concern, but this is a private matter and the decision is final." Then I filtered that address too. By December, I was steady again. Work was normal. My apartment was quiet. I ran in the mornings. I cooked simple meals. I caught up with my brother on weekends. I felt older in a good way, like I'd chosen myself without drama. The epilogue scene happened in late January, months after the original line in the hallway. It was a cold afternoon, gray sky, the kind of Richmond winter day that makes you want soup and a book. I was at a small independent bookstore in Carytown, browsing a table of used paperbacks. I had a gift card from my sister and no rush. I heard my name behind me, softer than I expected. Daniel. I turned and saw Paige standing near the front window. She looked different, not messy, not broken, just tired, less polished, less confident, like she'd been living without an audience for a while. Hi, I said. Her throat moved like she swallowed something heavy. I didn't know you came here. I like this place, I said. She nodded and stepped closer, careful. Can we talk just for a minute? I gave her what I'd give any person in public. A minute, I said. Her eyes filled, but she held it together. I'm sorry, she said. I keep replaying that night, the way I said it, the way I treated you like you were an accessory. I didn't argue, I didn't soften, I simply listened. I thought I could control everything, she continued, voice shaking. I thought if I managed the room, I could keep everyone happy, and I ended up losing the only person who was actually building a life with me. I nodded once, yes. She looked at me like she wanted permission to climb back into the old comfort. I miss you, she said. I miss how stable it felt. I miss the way you handled things. I kept my tone calm. Stability is built on respect. That part matters. Her eyes spilled over. Do you think, is there any chance we could start again? Slow, just coffee. She caught herself, like she realized she didn't know what to offer besides cliches. I didn't humiliate her. I didn't raise my voice. I said, Paige, I hope you heal. I'm not angry. I'm just finished. She flinched like the finality hurt more than anger would have. So that's it, she whispered. I nodded, that's it. She stood there for a second, wiping her face with the back of her hand, trying to keep dignity in a public place. Then she said, barely audible, I never should have asked you to make yourself smaller. I looked at her, not cruel, just clear. Remember that, I said, because I'm not doing that again. Then I turned back to the books, picked one out, and walked to the counter like my life belonged to me again. If you've ever been told to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable, I'd like to hear how you handled it. Share your thoughts in the comments.